Welcome to a quick sharp review of the Dune Graphic Novels, Book 1 and 2. Book 3 is not out yet, so I'll just be talking about these two. I'm going to talk about the structure of the release, the book itself, and lastly, what sort of music I would recommend listening to. So, we've got two nice hardcovers, both with slipcase. You can see Book 1 here, Book 2. Book 2 has the subtitle Muad'Dib, similar to the corresponding part in Dune. So the original novel is broken up into three parts, and it's 1, 2, and then the third one, which I think is going to be released sometime next year, will be the last part of it. Great cover art here on Book 1. I really like the colouring and sort of the stuff that this evokes. It's kind of abstract. I like it a lot. This one I'm not so crash hot on. These sort of more clearly defined lines of the lightning and stuff. It just reminds me of, like 2000s sci-fi fantasy novels. Not a big fan. Underneath the dust covers, you can see, if we take that off, you can see it's got this sort of matte appearance and feel on the side. It sort of feels almost like a little bit spongy. Similar sort of stuff on here, but different colours. And then I think it's a really cool detail. You've got Arrakis by day, I'm not sure I can pronounce that right, and by night. It's just like, I don't know, I like when books do that sort of stuff. The pages in this book are really thick, which is good. Very nice thick pages. It's not glossy, it's like more papery, but there's like absolutely zero bleed through, as you can probably see. So really nice high quality release. In terms of the book itself, so if you don't know anything about Dune, it's about this sci-fi story filled with like political intrigue, where this family is part of like a noble house under an empire, and they get tasked by the Emperor to go to the Dune planet, Arrakis, to take over from the people they have a feud with, and things go wrong. It's really an interesting story. If you're interested in it but not really, wanting to pick up the book, I think the movie's a good place to start. That's what I read, and then I read these, and then I'm just reading the novel now. So this is a really tricky release because I think the physical release itself is really awesome. The book itself, I'm in two minds about. It is a very faithful adaptation of the novel. A lot of the dialogue is the same. The issue with that is that if you're reading it for the first time, you have no frame of reference for any of the terms that they use, because there's no elaboration like there would be in narration, and there's no glossary at the back as well of useful terms. So when I read this after watching the movie, I was like, what the hell's going on? Having read the novel now, or most of the novel, I'm piecing together a lot more about what's happening, and it's so hard because I think the artwork in here is nice and serviceable, and this is sort of a good halfway point between the movie, which cuts out a lot of stuff, and the book, which has a lot of detail and takes a bit of time to read. But there is just so much context and so much stuff that I think just works better in the book, because it has all of this sort of additional material for you to actually get a sense of this world, because the world building in Dune is so strong. It's such an interesting world, and the things that Frank Herbert does within that world, I think, are truly interesting as well. So it helps if you know what is going on. They have retained this sort of stuff, which I liked, where different you get lots of different characters' points of view and their little thoughts every now and then. You can sort of see that there, and those are denoted by different colours throughout it, which is very evocative of how the book is written. But again, I think you're just missing out on some of that good stuff. I think for fans of Dune, this is really good, because it's a nice way to pick up and read through the series again without having to go through the whole thing. For people who have never had any introduction to Dune, I think it's a very difficult read. If you don't know words like if you don't know what Bene Gesserit means or Canley means, or like the Guild, then you're going to struggle through a fair bit of this like I did. I would recommend reading the book though. It's fantastic. It's not too hard to read. Amazing book so far anyway. And then in terms of music that I would recommend reading, I'd recommend the Dune original soundtrack from the movie that Hans Zimmer did a couple of years ago. The new movie part is coming out soon. Really excited for that. Fantastic movie. Despite taking liberties with the source material, I think it's an excellent adaptation. The visuals of it are awesome. The way it goes through the story, I think, is really interesting and cool. And it's just an amazing soundtrack. Hans Zimmer's a genius. So, that's what I reckon. Have you read these? Have you read the book? How do you think that they relate to the novel or to the movie? Let me know. Thanks. Bye.